What's up everybody, Tommy Har with the Real Side of Real Estate. In today's video, you're gonna learn how to reduce risk by having multiple exit strategies on properties. I'm standing out in front of one of the houses we bought. It's clearly beat up, it needs rehab. We're in the middle of the rehab. We've already spent 60 grand. We got 70 grand to go. And at the end, we're gonna decide, do we wanna flip it? Do we wanna keep it as a rental property? Maybe Airbnb it? Who knows? But you'll learn in this video how to run your numbers, how to look at a property, and to insulate yourself with multiple exit strategies. Let's get it. We've owned this house for about 6 months so far. It took us about 3 to 4 months to get our permits in. This house we bought for $95,000 in Columbus, Ohio. We're putting 130, maybe 140 grand into the renovation, and it's gonna be worth $375 at the end. So we're creating about $140-ish thousand of equity in this property, and we have the exit strategy of, do we wanna flip it? We're gonna keep it as a rental property. If we wanna keep it as a rental property, this is a neighborhood that I love. We actually just locked up 12 units like 10 blocks north yesterday while we were shooting this video. My first house hack was down this street. My old office is right over here with an Airbnb, my old house, and my other duplex that I own. I love this area. We also just refinanced, so we bought these two properties in a package. So we actually just refinanced this property here. We bought that one for $195. We put $200 in, and it appraised for $510. So we're renting out both sides. My payment every single month is $3,500. And I believe in this area long term. That property is renting for about $3,800 a month. The tenants are about to move in here soon. But enough of these houses. Let's talk about this one. This property we bought for $95. This house has been an eyesore, a pain in the ass for the neighborhood for almost forever. The family owned both of these. The family was upset that they were selling, and the brother, before he passed, he set a fire to our living room. So we were initially in contract for I think 110 to 120 from a wholesaler. So a wholesaler brought me both of these houses. I renegotiated down because we had the fire, and we also had one of the brothers died, and the family claimed that they falsely wrote the deed over to the other brother. So there was a lot of family issues, a lot of BS, but we went through a quiet title action on this, and we actually won, so we own the properties out right now. So walking into the house, the fire was actually right here. There was a back door here before. So we know going into any 1900s build at this point, full rehab, we gotta really replace the subfloor anyway. Subfloor meaning the floor joist and what your flooring is gonna sit on. Because usually they're bouncy, they're wavy. So it made the decision way easier. So we knew we had to, pull permits. The red tag is pretty much still on the door. So this means it's unsafe to occupy. This is like when a fire department comes and sees that there's a fire, they come in and they red tag it and say, you can't go in this house, it's unsafe to occupy. So if you do occupy it, you can get violations, you can get code violations, you can get fines, all that good stuff. So what we're looking at right now, to the untrained eye, you could probably be like, well, that house still looks destroyed. This is $60,000 worth of work in here. We redid the entire subfloor system. This house was a 2-bed, 1-bath. There was a chimney right where I'm standing going up and down throughout the house. We decided to rip it all the way out to create a full open concept on this house. So when you do that, I'm gonna be throwing a lot of things at you guys here because this is the way my mind's working. A chimney is being used for exhaust. Your furnace is typically going into it. So if you remove that, and your water heater, when you remove that, you have to figure out what you're gonna do with either those combustible gases. Are you gonna put them, you can't put them in a chimney anymore. So there's two options. Number one, you can get a high efficient furnace, which has PVC pipes going out the outsides of your house and exhausting out, or you can get electric. So electric water heater is typically the best option because you don't wanna get a power vent, those are expensive. So make sure your water heater is electric, and your furnace is either going to be a heat pump or it's going to be high efficient. And if you decide to go electric, make sure you upgrade your electrical panel to a 200 amp when you're in that process. So it's the things you gotta be thinking about when you're renovating houses. So we got our windows going in right now, we got our framing. We always try to put, if you watch my other videos with these old houses, we always try to add a half bath here. So I added a half bath here. This was more or less a dining area. If you know anything about these old houses, they're so obsolete. And they're just, the functionality is not there. So we knew as a 2-1, the ARV was about 250. I was like, that's not gonna work. It's about 1,100 square foot. So I'm sitting there, and I designed this. I'm gonna take credit for this one here. I was like, how do we change the functionality? So if you look at new apartments, if you look at certain houses, they don't really have dining spaces. So we got our living space here, which is really all you need, couch, TV, whatever you want to put your stuff, and then you flow right into your kitchen. So you've got a peninsula here running all the way across. We've got our sink. Actually, no, sink not there. That's going to be, the sink basin is going to be here, right in front of the window. We've got our dishwasher. We've got a base cabinet. S for, that's going to be our range. Yeah, our range is going to be there. Our fridge is going to be here. You see our water line is already installed. And we've got our stackable washer and dryer back here. So we framed all of this out with all that in mind. So now it flows in, and back here is where the kitchen used to be. So the kitchen used to be back here. This house was falling apart, by the way. Let me show you, let me just cut where I'm at right now, and let me just throw some videos in for you guys to see what this place looked like, because it was absolutely insane. We ripped up everything, we rebuilt foundations. This whole back of the house was literally ripped off and rebuilt. So like we came in, we reframed, you can see all the new wood, all vaulted ceilings, everything is brand new. This was our only bathroom before, and the entrance was in through the walkway. So now, instead of having this be your one bath, because the bedrooms were only upstairs, who the hell wants to walk downstairs to go, one in the middle of the night to take a piss, or to shower if they've got guests over? Nobody wants that, right? You got to think about design. So this is our door to our now ensuite. This is our first floor master. We've got a giant bathroom here, vanity, toilet, shower pan for masters, because you won't really be using tubs in a master. And then you got your closet. We've got a window we're popping in right here. And then we've got our back door here. So you got to walk through the back to get to here, but usually you won't really need to. And then upstairs, we got our electric, which we pulled upstairs, 200 amps. And then up here, we knew we wanted to add another bathroom. So we decided, and we've been doing a lot of these, once again, the chimney was right here in the middle. So the bedrooms before were here and here with chimneys and closets right in the middle. I was like, okay, how do we make this space as best as we can? So what we did is we removed the chimney from the ceiling up, or from the floor all the way to the ceiling, and we made a Jack and Jill bathroom in the middle. So here, you walk into your bedroom, you got another door right here, walk in, bathroom. Another door where Rob's at, into our other bedroom with our closet. So now we still have, I think, 10 by 10 bedrooms at least. So 8 by 8 is the minimum. That is way too small. 10 by 10, 10 by 12, that needs to be your spacing. Now we've got a full Jack and Jill bathroom in this house. It's beautiful. I mean, we took it from a 2.1 to a 3, 2.5 without really getting rid of a lot of functionality. Now you do have to walk through your back of your house to get through that bedroom, but that could be an office. It doesn't have to be a third bedroom for somebody, but I want it to appraise as such. But like I said, what you're looking at is about $60,000 worth of rehab as of today. We've got about $70,000 more. So what you're looking at is our framing and rough mechanicals and some of our windows. So to get to the next steps, once we pass this rough electric, which should be any day now, we need to insulate the exterior walls. We need to do drywall. We need to then do carpentry, which is our trim our doors. We need to set floors. We need to put cabinets in. We need to do tile. We need to set our fixtures. We need to paint. And then we need to do our lights and all that good stuff. So once you get to drywall, the hard work on these is usually really done, because the permits are on the mechanical systems, on the framing, and that's the really hard part. So once you get past that stuff, you're really on to, I'm not gonna say smooth sailing, because everything in construction's hard, but you're not working with your city as much anymore. So, like I said, $95,000 rehab, $130,000 of construction. So I'm all in about this house, $225,000. And now, mind you, I raised private money for this entire thing, purchase and rehab. I have none of my own cash in this deal. So let's assume I pay another $20,000 in interest. So I'm all in $245,000. This house is gonna be worth $375,000. So here's what you can do. And this is how, if markets change, if plans go wrong, having one option can completely screw you over. We can sell this house for $375,000. We're gonna pay realtor costs, let's call it 15 grand. We're gonna pay another $20,000 of interest, which we already kind of accounted for. We got holding costs. So we'll walk out of this thing making $90,000 to $100,000. Amazing, amazing deal. But what I can also do is, if I'm like, okay, I own that property over here, I want to keep this thing as a rental property. So what I would do is I would rent the property out. I think I can get about $2,200 of rent. $375,000 times 0.75, which is 75% LTV on a loan. And if you don't know what this means, go back to my old videos. That's $281,000, $250,000. So a $281,000 loan. Remember, I'm all in $245,000. So I could cash out refinance 30 grand on this deal, 30 G's. And my payment would be about $2,200. Now I'd break even, but I just got $30,000 of tax-free money put in my bank account. So let's assume that $200 is a good rental amount net. 200 times 12 yearly is $2,400. So let's go $30,000 divided by $200. That's monthly cash flow. It would take you 150 months to get that cash flow back. Divided by 12, that's 12 and a half years. So I would just take the 30 grand, cash out, and use it and break even on the house while the interest rates are this, and then use it on whatever you want, as reserves, as vacancies, and for a rainy day fund. Because that $200 a month, people are so caught up on $200 a month that if you can cash out that money, break even, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like, the cash flow doesn't matter. I have the equity. I now have 25% equity in this house. If rates drop again, let's say I get a 7% interest rate, DSCR on this, if they drop to the 5s, I'm gonna then create $300 of cash flow by refinancing this property again, and I already took the $30,000 of tax-free money and put it in my bank account. So those are the things you need to be thinking about. It's not all about cash flow. It's not always a couple hundred dollars here. A couple hundred dollars isn't gonna change your life. The $30,000 of tax-free money is gonna change your life. So start thinking a little bit differently about these properties. Flip them if you need the cash. If you need cash, if you don't need it in your bank account, put it on your balance sheet. My boy Terry Summers, he owns 300 houses, he told me that, and I'll never forget it. You can go broke fast trying to own rental properties. So if you don't have active income, if you don't have cash in the bank, sell the damn thing. There will always be another deal. And that right there is the real side of real estate. If you guys like this video, if you guys want to learn how to analyze deals like this, I actually have a free deal analyzer. It's going to be down in the show notes. It'll analyze a deal as a flip and also as a burr, the two exits we just talked about. And the reason you want two exits is because if a rainy day happens, you want to be able to get out of the deal and not have it go under. So if you're buying houses in luxury areas, you can't really refinance and rent those out because there's not going to be enough money that you're going to collect in rent to service debt that you're going to have on property. So I would very highly recommend finding markets like Columbus, like Cincinnati, like somewhere that has that 1% rule that you can hit. So if I'm all in $250 on this, I should get about $2,500 of rent. So use that as kind of a quick baseline. And like I said, if you like videos like this, drop a comment to me. Put a lot of effort into these. Shoot us some love, subscribe. We're almost to 6,000 subs. Next thing you know, we'll be at 100,000 and we're changing the game. So let's get it.